Okay, hello guys. I apologize for load shedding problems. We are sorted now. We are live. All our speakers are ready for your questions. So welcome back to the Financial Freedom Festival. This is the final session, which will be a Q&A and a recap of the sessions that Rudi and Landi had. I would just like to start off by congratulating everybody that's attending. Really, really well done. I think personal and professional development is an important part of your career, and well done on investing in yourself and actually trying to gain knowledge on topics that are very critical and important. And I think knowledge is not the property of one individual or institution, but it's hidden in discussions between people that are actually intending on learning something new. And I think that is what Golden Key is trying to create. We're trying to create discussions on educational topics. So please join us on social media, interact with us, give us some ideas. Let's try and change the world. So I think just with the logistics of this session, we're going to split up the session in 30 minutes. We have lost a bit of time with load shedding, but we'll make it up as the session goes along. So Rudi will start and have a 30-minute session to recap his presentation and then the questions that were sent in from the Google form. And then Landi will have a 30-minute session. Then we'll take a 30-minute session to answer the live Q&A questions. If you guys have awesome questions that you've been thinking of, please drop them in the Q&A section, and we'll get to them after Rudi and Landi has had a chance of recapping their presentations. And then at the end, we're going to have a wrap up where the PPS prizes will be announced. So if you're feeling lucky, please stay tuned until the end. Maybe you win a prize. And then after the event later tonight, we're going to be sending you guys a post-event document with a small summary of the sessions that happened, and some contact details. And Rudi loves giving away free things, so please look at it. I'm going to give you something. And then, yes, I would just like to say thank you so much for our partners, the Wealth Room, GDT Wealth, and PPS for making this happen. The Golden Key team, well done, guys. And then the post-event will be on YouTube. Golden Key SA has a YouTube channel, which it will be posted on within the next week. And then Stellenbosch Golden Key is going to launch a YouTube channel with this event. That will be the first thing on the channel. So please check that out. And yes, enjoy the final session, guys. I'm going to give it over to Rudi. Ask any questions that you have for him.
Awesome. Thank you, Shawnee. That was a really impressive quote, and it's definitely one in one of my banks, my quote banks. I am one of those quote unquote people. I use quotes all the time to make myself sound smarter. So yeah, and I just want to say to Landi, last night's session was incredible. Man, you are a woman of power. Absolutely awesome. And yeah, thank you so much for that, Landi. Those of you who weren't here last night, Landi blew off the roof with absolute amazing wisdom. We are privileged to have women like you in South Africa, and I'm just honored to starting to get to know you. So thank you for what you shared, and you came prepared, and you definitely knocked our socks off. The one thing I did struggle to understand, though, is seeing a woman as classy as you eating noodles. I bet you eat ramen these days. But what it did remind me, Landi, is that we all start somewhere, and it is phenomenal. And that's what I want to speak on tonight, is just realizing that where we start in life doesn't necessarily have to always paint a picture of where we will end. And particularly in our South African, state of affairs, there are so many people impoverished, and something like speaking about financial freedom is a privilege in its own right. And I just want to remind every single one of you sitting here tonight on a Friday night with a working internet, and you are able to watch something that will teach you about how you steward your finances compared to absolute impoverishment. So we must realize how privileged are and where we all start. Look, I know we all have different stories, and that's a story for another day, but just first and foremost to realize that we all start somewhere. And what that looks like right now for you, maybe you are 10 years ahead of everyone else because of different privileges that you may have, or maybe you are 20 years behind because of a past and things, circumstances that put you behind that were not in your control. I just want to remind you that each and every one of you have something inside of you that can conquer anything. And I want to just remind you that what's inside of you is also your responsibility. It's something that you need to own up to. It's something that you need to realize and be able to affirm when you look at yourself in the mirror. You need to know that you are worthy and that you are the person that you are right now. You are intended to be. What you are learning right now is what is setting you up for that success that is in your future. But if you don't start believing that and looking at your circumstances as something that's not sufficient to your liking, you're going to train your mind to always live in the future. You will become somebody that can never be happy in your now because your future always has more. If you do not realize that your true happiness is in your present, or that you are afflicted by your past, the latter will always haunt you, and it will be the reason why you do not succeed. So the moment you succeed and start getting financial freedom is the moment you realize that you have a responsibility to your life and those around you. Once you start living in a way that you want to build things to empower others, you start living free of all the claws of comparison and rejection and anything else, because you have a purpose. If you want to know anything about purpose, please go read Simon Sinek's book, Know Your Why. It is phenomenal. And then also go read the book by Napoleon Hill called Think and Grow Rich. It will definitely impact your life after this. So I want to just reiterate what I spoke about on Wednesday evening. And thank you so much for your phenomenal response, guys. I mean, I've just gotten so much love from you guys. And I just want to say, it's so amazing to see how a bunch of young people would respond to something like this. And I would want to do more stuff like this. Maybe Landy and I can meet up and we can maybe start some more forums like this. I really think there's a place. But yeah, let's talk about it at another stage. But thank you so much for your response. And I've got some amazing emails from you guys. Sorry that I haven't responded to all of them, but you have inundated me with a lot of love. But I will get back to you. And so basically on Wednesday night, I just spoke about, that life has certain principles to them and that you cannot debate it. It's a law. It's like the law of gravity. And I used an example of, if I have to drop this pen, there's no point in arguing with me that it's going to hit the ceiling, because it's going to hit the ground every time. Even if you put a trampoline there and it does hit the ceiling, the law will apply it to go back to the ground. So there's no, you'll be foolish to have a debate around something like that. And I just see too often that people have debates about things that they put their opinion on, but the law of that principle does not allow for it to apply anyway. So you extend so much energy into something that's not going to work. And the only reason why people do that is either they are foolish, they're very prideful, or they do not understand how the principle works. So Landy gave us such an amazing outlay last night on, what happens after you learn how to apply a principle like this. How do you actually act on that? But there's something about the foundation of who you are as a human that needs to grip something. You need to have a revelation of some sort, right? Because most of us are so entitled, and the entitlement comes from when we are small. If anybody's Afrikaans, I just hear little babies always saying "myne, myne," and that says mine. They're always grabbing onto their toys and saying it's mine. Now that entitlement starts there, and it's part of our human nature, believe it or not. We are perfectly flawed in many ways. But if we can get to learn that our life is not ours and that we need to just be free in the way that we live and the way that we think about money, we need to understand that there are principles that will make your financial freedom so much deeper, because it will be a part of who you are, rather than money being something that you identify with. Could you imagine if you identify yourself as being a rich person? And that is where all your identity lies. I'm this great, fantastic, rich person. I identify with my Porsche or my Lamborghini and my big house. I mean, man, if you want some goals, go back to Landi's goals that she put out last night. She made my goals look like, I don't know. I mean, there were helipads in there. There were game farms in there. That is a list of goals. I went back to mine. I was like, oh, well, I need to reconfigure this one. But anyway, the point I'm making is that these principles require that you just apply yourself to them. And so basically the first principle was, yes, Landi spoke about them beautifully last night. Set life goals. And I, for one, would say write them down, preferably on pen and paper. It's something that I practice. It has changed my life. Every single personal development book I've ever read would start with that, goals. And when I do financial planning, it's the first thing I do as well. We set goals. And that is where your financial freedom would start. You need to know what you want from your life. You have to have that responsibility. A lot of my time these days I spend with clients and actually give them the advice to say, maybe come back to me in a year. These are the things that I'm going to leave you with, and maybe get this and this and this in order. And then I know that you have the discipline to actually accept the plan that I'm going to give you. The reason why I do that is not because I think I'm great or I'm this amazing planner, but I want this to cost you something. I need you to understand that everything in life has a give and a take. You cannot put an expectation on a financial planner or an advisor or a wealth manager or a fund for you to get the return that you think that you deserve if you don't know what it takes to get that. There's a cost to it, and you need to understand that responsibility. So making life goals puts you in a position where you need to start putting certain steps in place to understand what it is that you want to achieve and why it's important to you as an individual, because that actually teaches you a lot about who you are as a person. The second principle is that giving is essential. Now, this is something that's very difficult because we think that we have to, whatever we earn, we have to keep for ourselves because, time is money and I am valuable. All those things do apply. But you know what? There's something about this law that is just insane. If that is the only reason that you do it, I promise you, then it will still be good. But the more you give, the more you get. It is just how it works in life. I cannot explain it. It's like the law of attraction. It just works that way. But the deeper sense of why you should actually do it and why I do it and why I'm generous with my time and generous with my money is because every single time I understand that I give something of myself, it's an opportunity to connect with something deeper than myself. And I'm able to connect with people on a deeper level. It gives my life purpose. It puts me in a sense of rest and ease in the way that I carry and conduct myself, because I know that what I'm doing right now has some sort of outlay into something positive and something uplifting, rather than just acquiring things. Now, don't get me wrong, I like to acquire things. I like nice things. My wife has expensive taste, but putting aside time to give things away puts you in a position where you don't feel like you are enslaved to money. Money is not in control of you. You can give it freely, and therefore you'll be able to receive it freely. And it is definitely one of the most powerful tools out there in terms of just really understanding what financial freedom is, because you won't be gripped and enslaved by money so much. If that is a bizarre thought for you, please make contact with me and I will explain that more in depth in person or over an email. I'm very happy to speak to you about that. Step 3 is to live on margin. The rule is that people can only arrive in 3 ways. They can either be early, on time, or late. All 3 says something about you. If you are somebody that is always late, please try and plan your life better. Tardiness is not acceptable in the business world. Never. Never is it an excuse, unless there's load shedding, of course, Landi. We understand that in Africa, but it's awesome. But the fact is that there's a deeper principle at play here. If you are always late for everything, you always explaining yourself to the people that you're late to, feeling indebted to them. Now, this in a financial principle comes in play. The fact that if you do not leave room for error, you're always finding yourself making unnecessary debt at a cost that you weren't able to count. Now, that opportunity cost is something that will start disrupting and eating into what will make you a wealthy person, which is compound interest, because you're making foolish decisions on the spur of the moment because you have not allowed room for error, margin. Now we can discuss that. My first thing that I would ask you to do before I would ever, want to continue onto a journey where we can talk about your finances is to get an emergency fund in place, something like a unit trust or a very, very cheap bank account with no hidden fees, preferably not a checking account or anything like that. We can speak about that. I'll maybe try and make a YouTube video about that for you guys. But to just get something like an emergency fund, I typically would advise 3 to 6 months salary in that before you actually even start investing, because that gives you a place to live on margin, and you can actually count the cost when small things happen and you're not withdrawing from long-term investment funds, which have implications if you withdraw from them. So that puts you in a position of power. You understand why you're making these decisions. And in certain circles, they call that the FU money. That puts you just in a position where you are in control of the way. If you are going to be employed, I would say that's the best way, because then your company doesn't own you. You have the luxury of leaving whenever you want. That is another point of financial freedom, because you are not their slave, because you are so reliant of that paycheck on the end of the month. That would be the most freeing thing you could ever experience in your young life, because that will put you in a position to have the guts to actually be innovative and bring something to the table, because you're not too scared to offend, right? Now, there's obviously a way to tactfully do that. So I'm not saying go to your bosses and say, listen, you don't listen to me because I've got all these great ideas. But I just think it would put you in a position that you are just a lot more comfortable. All right, step 4, and I think you've all heard this, keep out of debt. There are so many amazing ways to do this. It's never easy though. Like nothing in life is easy. But if you are in debt, it is definitely something that I would strongly advise you to get out of. There is healthy debt. Yes, a lot of your questions were around debt, and there is healthy debt, and we can maybe hopefully get into that. Principle 5 will be you are not saving unless you can measure the return. Now, what I mean by that is that we have all become accustomed to this corporate and consumer behavior that gives us treats like dogs doing tricks when we spend. I mean, all these loyalty programs are rewarding us for spending money. Okay, so it feels like we're saving when we're spending. All right, do you see the psychology there? Because that gives us that drive to want to spend more. Okay, that is marketing 101. If you haven't looked into these loyalty programs, they're awesome, but know how they work and use them to save so that you can realize the returns, not to spend more. Okay, that's because there's a significant difference there. So I would say something silly that I do that my wife laughs at me for, but I would go into a shop and I've got my app ready because I know that I'm going to realize some savings here. And I do something silly, like it's so silly, guys, but it's so easy. And this is just something that I hope can permeate through to at least one person, that one other person can be as silly as I am. But like when I see there's a 17 Rand saving on something that I'm going to buy, I calculate all of that. And everything while I'm buying stuff, if there's a t-shirt and it was half price, I don't buy 2, I buy the 1 and I save the $100. Or I do the special where you buy 3 shirts for 500 Rand or whatever, and then one shirt would have been X amount times 3, so whatever the saving is on the other one, and I transfer that money on the end of our shopping trip. So that is bizarre, guys, but that's really just helped me to realize my savings. Like, that's a habit, and it might sound silly, but that 17 rand there and the 24 rand there and 150 rand there, it adds up. And in the end of the month, it's sometimes like 1,000 or 2,000 bucks. And I can choose to do with that money whatever I want. I usually reward myself with something nice. I buy headphones and expensive t-shirts, but I've earned it because I've really saved it. So you can do that to, boost your emergency savings until you get to that point that you don't have to save that stuff anymore. But that's just the way that you can realize savings. Just think differently about it. Don't be caught in the trap to spend. Don't, when you see there's a 50% sale, buy two if you were there to buy one. Rather save the money, because you did. That's how you realize a saving, unless you needed to and you could only afford one, and then that's a bargain. Don't be like overly crazy about it, but use your discretion. And I think it's a cool way to save if you're already at the at wit's end with your budget. That's just a cool way to save a little bit more. Hope you guys are still following. We are halfway through. I'm going to speed it up so I can get to some of your questions. Principle 6 is the secret of gratitude. I call it a secret because it is like everyone knows about it, but no one really speaks about how you should, just show gratitude. Where you are right now is exactly where you need to be. You don't have to be more or less than you are. I heard this amazing preach one day, actually, and it was about staying in your lane. 100-meter sprinters do not spend a split second looking at the athlete next to them. The only way that they can win that race is if they focus on their two lines. They cannot hit the peak of their athletic ability if they focus on another human being for even a split second. How bizarre is that? And that's our lives. Instagram and social media and all this stuff has put us in a position where we spend too much time in other people's lanes because their lane looks so much cooler than ours. I mean, there's helipads and there's popping champagne and I mean, living the YOLO dream. I mean, come on. And then that leaves us feeling despondent and, I'll never be as good and blah, 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 blah. Stop doing that. Stop it. Like, live your life to the fullest. Where you are right now, being present, has all the golden nuggets that you need to live the life that you know you deserve and that you are heading into. Honestly, that gratitude, that affirmation every day will change your life. Don't be a victim, be victorious. Don't be the person that's stuck in your circumstances and that you don't feel like you have control over your finances right now, or you have control over your love life or spiritual life or relationships. You are where you are right now because there's something for you. Find that and move to the next place. You have that responsibility and you owe that to yourself, and just be grateful. Awesome. Then principle 7, keep record. I promised most of you a budgeting tool. What I'm going to do is, I saw that there were some emails that came through with the questions. I have all of those emails. If you guys are happy, I will just send a cool budgeting tool for you that we've made. And yeah, you're welcome to use it or not to use it. But I will get my office to set that up and send that to you guys. Awesome. But it's very important to know what you're spending and what's coming in. A budget should really not be very complicated. You should just keep track of what's coming in and what's going out. It should be something that you actually look at kind of every second day. It's what I do, but it becomes like a game and you become very accustomed to what's going on in your life. The budget is super important and we underestimate its power. And sometimes we overcomplicate it, and that's why we don't do it. So this budget that I'm sending you is really very simple. It's just what comes in and out. I've already kind of pre-populated some of the basic expenses that some people or most people would have, and then some of the basic calculation stuff is there so that you don't have to calculate stuff. It's done for you. So it's very simple. So I would urge all of you to start that. Just go and do what is my income and expenses, and how much money are you left over with, or how much month are you left over with, and there's no more money. You can figure that out, but at least you know then. Cool. Principle 8, get a side hustle. Man, this is probably the one that you guys ask me most about. How do I get another side hustle? Passive income is amazing and it's all around us. I wasn't a believer, but I am now. Silly little things like proofreading. You guys are all smart and intelligent. You know how many businesses pay pretty good money for you to proofread their emails? Yes, I know Grammarly exists and all that kind of stuff. Man, but those oldies, still old school. They want someone to come in and proofread and change that. You can earn, I don't know, you can earn, a couple of $1,000 a month just doing something like that. And if you're one of those people that enjoy doing that, you can. There's TEFL courses for online teaching that will pay you something like $1,000 a week for 2 hours work. There's so many cool stuff. Digital marketing. Most companies require digital marketing at the moment. There's so many free courses out there. An amazing one on Udemy that I think it's like 400 Rand. The content's really good and you get a certificate. All that kind of stuff. So yeah, I don't know. Just type in what is a good side hustle. But the key for me to find a side hustle would be the following. Find something that you're passionate about and you're already gifted and talented in. Therefore, it's a hobby or something that you're going to do it anyway. Just find a way to monetize it. It's not that hard. Like, just spend some time to think about it. People are willing to pay good money if somebody's good at something, and you are good at something. So it's not going to take too much energy. I know that you all are at your capacity when it comes to university. I've been through that. I know how much work it is. But also you need an outlet in life. And if you can monetize your hobbies, that's working smart, not hard. So it's really possible, guys. I'm speaking out of my own experience. My wife and I, we've started doing small things like that. Start small businesses, small. It's not earning us million Rand at a time. Like, really, I'm just talking about a couple of R100 here and 1,000 Rand there, but it all adds up and it pays for the big stuff. It pays cars and medical aids and passive stuff that you have to pay every month. And before you know it, like, everything's paid, and whatever it is that you're doing, it becomes just an extra income. And now you can enjoy your salary. You can be generous. You can, I don't know, buy the stuff you think you need. You can save properly. You can have, all that kind of stuff. And that's financial freedom. So multiple streams of income, guys, it is key to success and financial freedom. And it's not as hard as we all make it out to be. I'm definitely not the smartest guy I know, but I've been able to figure out these small little things. And, I'm definitely not a coach that can teach everybody to do this kind of stuff, but mostly during my planning sessions, I do have some time to spend to figure out who the person is sitting in front of me and what would possibly work for them, because your interests tell a significant story about who you are as a human. And those hobbies could be monetized in, the simplest way. So yeah, I think you get it. Principle number 9, my favorite one, seek wise counsel. We live in a fatherless nation, a nation of men that are raised by mothers. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. Women are phenomenal. I mean, Landi is the epitome of what a wonderful woman is. And but I think mentorship, men need to be taught how to be men by men. Okay, and there's a need for that. So I'm not urging you to seek wise counsel only, but once you find it, go be that for someone else. Be the mentor to someone else that you know they deserve. That's the only way we are going to get past this racial debacle in our country, this inequality. Let's all carry the torch. Let's all get over that line and start being mentors and seeking mentorship from the future into the present and going into the past. And I know that there's so much from our past that cannot be fixed, but I'm not going to have a political conversation today. I think you get the point that I'm trying to make. Like, seeking wise counsel is something that you need to know. So I run my life in circles. I have 3 circles. It's an inner circle, a middle circle, and then an outer circle. In the middle is my mentors. You're lucky if you get 3 to 5. Now, these are people that have significant success in the area that I want to know more about. I find them. If you're a spiritual person, I pray for them. And somehow it happens that, these people come across my life and I'm able to ask them questions. And I know when they speak that they have authority to speak over my life. So therefore, I then give them that time of day. Third, the middle one will be your loved ones, your wife, your friends, your colleagues, the people that you allow in your life. Their opinion shouldn't be too much. You shouldn't worry too much about it. Take what they have to say and make an informed decision with regarding what your inner circle has told you. All right, because they have good intentions for you. And then the last one is all the people you walk past at university, blah, blah, blah. If she says you're fat, so what? It doesn't really matter. She has no authority over your life. If she says that you are not going to make it in life, yeah, it shouldn't bother you. But seeking wise counsel, find a mentor, be a mentor is what I'm trying to tell you. And then principle 10, continuous professional development. The person who stops studying is forever hopelessly doomed to mediocrity. So if you thought you're going to stop studying at the end of this year and you want financial freedom, I've got news for you. Unfortunately, you have to educate yourself constantly. The world moves at a pace so fast. If you're not heading the team, you get behind so quickly. And the world is ruthless that way. So don't stop educating yourself. It is key. And education is very easily accessible these days on YouTube and Udemy and all these places. So it doesn't have to be expensive. All right. I see that we are running out of time. I could speak to you guys forever, but we do have a wealth of wisdom waiting for you by the beautiful Landi. She's also just going to get an overview. I'm sorry that I didn't get to any of your questions, and they've been so phenomenal. I've got them all open here. I will try and answer some of them. Hopefully we get some time at the end. But yeah, thank you for this opportunity to speak to you guys. It's been a real honor to me. So thank you for being here on a Friday night. I do applaud you for that. I don't know if I would have been here on a Friday night if I was your age. So awesome. Have a wonderful weekend, and I give it over to you, Landi.
Hello.
Yeah, you're fine. You're perfect. You're online.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Can you hear me perfectly, Sean? Am I good?
You are now.
Your internet dropped a bit now, but you're fine now. I think you're good now. Oh, internet struggles. Okay, go for it.
I think I'm here again.
Yes, I think your internet is stable now. Go for it.
Guys, I'm so sorry. Johannesburg, seriously. Rudi, thank you so much for that. I'm so excited about working with you. You're a handful of advisors, not even a hand. I mean, I can't count 3. Actually, one. It's one of the most phenomenal things ever. And I think everyone should take advantage of your services. I don't say that because advice were often the worst nightmare because all they cared about what happens at the end of the month. And to have someone as brutally honest as you about, really helping people make a meaningful difference to their finances. I'm asking myself, where were you when I was getting myself entangled in funny things? and products, actually, getting caught up in the wave of having this product and that product out of urgency, out of peer pressure, or whatever the case is. So, big up to you. I'm so excited. I've actually looked for an advisor for the longest time because I don't advise, I teach, and then I want to hand over. And the shortfall has always been, I don't want to hand over people to someone that's going to sell them things. I want to hand over to someone that's actually going to journey with them through life. So thank you so much for that. I'm looking forward to it. Guys, for a bit of a recap on my side, I think we spoke about investments. I'm not going to go into too much detail tonight, but I'd like to pick up where Rudi's left off. He's just said so much that has evoked so much emotion in me as a young person, as a female in this industry. And I mean, just touching on the last part that he spoke about fatherless nations, we are dealing with a crisis. We're dealing with a crisis in our country, and we've got men on this platform that can change that narrative. And one of the ways in which you can change that narrative, unfortunately, is your financial freedom. Because when you are financially free, you are the people that are meant to start the media houses that will tell a different story. The media houses are not necessarily interested in telling such a narrative, in mobilizing men and saying, let's stand up. These are our mothers, these are our sisters, etc. So when you are financially free, you're able to choose where you want to place your money. You are a person that can buy shares in a media house and say, I'm going to buy Media 24, and the story that I'm going to flight today is young entrepreneurs, or I'm going to buy this media house and we're going to talk about being a nation that is focused on true economic upliftment. So sure, Rudi, I could go on forever about that topic, but to come back to investing for young people, a lot of you, I've had a look at your questions, and a lot of your questions center around how much should I start with, Landi? I think the how much for me, you probably know my answer to this, but the how much for me is not that important. You can't start with the how much question until you answer what Rudi has asked. And what Rudi has asked is, currently, as we sit here today, what is your financial position? So when you look at yourself, and I'm not talking about the clothes that you wear, unless you are wearing something that appreciates in value. When you look at what you have, what you own, that is not shared ownership with a bank or your aunt that you have to pay back, what do you own? Less what you owe other people. You get your net value. Where are you today? And where you are today will then drive what you draw up as your budget using Rudi's tools. Because if you have a negative value when you take your assets and you minus your liabilities, you are privately insolvent. I say privately because I don't know, Rudi doesn't know, but you know you've got a problem. So your budget has got to talk to your financial position, right? So you know that you've got a situation. Now, how do you turn around that situation? Your budget is the plan that will help you turn around your financial position. It's either going to help you turn it around for good if it is negative, or it's going to help you improve it if it's already positive, but you want to get somewhere else. This is where you now start looking at those goals and bringing them into play. So when you look at your spending plan, the amount of money that you want to invest is not what is left over at the end of the month after you've budgeted for your hair, your nails. None of you should be thinking nails now because you should be biting your nails with students, right? So we shouldn't be thinking manicures and all sorts, but the money that you invest is not the money at the bottom, the net something that's left over from what you have and then what you budget or plan on spending. And then there's something there that's left behind that you think, let me start off with. Investing is a way of paying yourself first. So as one of the other questions that people ask me is, so what should we be thinking around our money spending? I don't know, but my personal rule of thumb is I live off 70% of everything that I get. So 10% goes towards tithing or doing good. 10% goes towards paying myself first, Now, paying myself first means investing. So I have to make sure that I am paid before I lavish myself with other things. I've worked for where I want to be. Part of your working could be saying it's the sacrifice. It's the foregone spending that it's the spending that you've foregone in order for you to invest. So you tithe or do good with 10%. You pay yourself first with 10%, and then you get in the habit. Rudi spoke about living for a purpose much better than yourself. You don't wait until you're wealthy. You start doing that now. So 10% I put away as a do-good fund. And a do-good fund, part of my do-good fund is in winter, we can buy blankets. If there are students that don't have textbooks, we buy them textbooks. We've paid for students' groceries for certain months. That takes me to 70%. I've now got 70% to live off. But I've taken care of the first part. And my 10% of paying myself, I could invest in something that, you know, I want to invest for the long term. So 5 years plus, I'm paying myself, remember, I'm building up a kitty. So that addresses the how much should I be putting away. Then you start tackling your debt with the first part of your 70%, right? So get rid of it. I agree with Rudi, it is a pain. And, you know, I have to say this, I don't know what the Afrikaans do, Rudi, and Sean, you must engage me here. But there's something I hate with a passion amongst the Black community, and that is housewarming. I always ask myself, what are you warming when the house is on debt? You're warming a bond. What are you doing? You know, are you inviting people because of your ego? Come and see how my relationship with F&B has afforded me this house. Let's not warm anything. Let's first pay up the house and we can then invite everyone. So I don't know how it works with the Afrikaans, but let's just, you know, engage me here. I'm open to learning. Ask it in your Q&A. Teach me as well, right? So get rid of those kind of things. Get rid of debt. Have a plan. If you're going to get a bond, I want to pay my bond. Be ambitious. In 10 years, I want to be out of it. You've got passive income coming. You can do it, right? So get out of debt. I spoke about paying yourself first. So I'm already covered that you've got one investment going. Then you pay your debt. And then you look and say, look, you know, I've still got money left over after groceries and expenses. Don't hold on to that money. So if you've got 500 Rand left and you know that you are so disciplined with that money, find something to do with that 500 Rand as well. Put it away. You know, could you potentially start saving for your flight back home in December instead of swiping your credit card for your flight? You know, once you've covered your flight money, start putting it away for something else. You know, I often say that you don't have to be a millionaire to live like a millionaire. You don't. So it's just a little bit of sacrifice here and there. And I'll share a personal testimony with you guys. When my husband and so I didn't have that whole romantic, you know, engagement, etc. I did tell you that we were quite broke those days. So, you know, it was kind of those conversations. Hey, I've been dating for a while. How you, girl? Want to do this thing? And I was like, yeah, let's do it. But we don't have money. So, you know, I don't know how we're going to do this. And we decided in 2010 that, okay, we're getting married in 2013. And we literally lived like paupers from 2010 to 2013. We decided not to buy any clothes. We didn't go on holiday. We stopped going to these housewarmings and whatever. Well, I had a revelation now that what are we warming? And then I kind of also, you know, decreased the number of baby showers I went to. I was like, oh, I've got to look for the outfit. I've got to do my hair, my nails, blah, blah, blah. I mean, it all comes down to about 2,000 Rand for a flippant baby shower. The baby's not even born. Can we introduce a new phenomenon and say, we are now going to have investment showers? So I am going to plant the first seed for every child, my friends, my family. I'm going to say, right, you're having a baby. Here's 1,000 Rand towards a unit trust for your baby. Open it. I'll deposit it there. I'm not even sending it to your bank account. So I stopped attending baby showers. But now I'm this great aunt that invests in all these babies, right? So that's what we did. 3 years, we're saving up towards a marriage. We literally, we stopped eating takeaways as well. We downgraded DSTV. We were trying to get married. That's all we were trying to do. We got married, cash wedding. My husband still had a kitty on the side for the lobola. Black men, get ready. And white guys, if you're marrying black, all the best. Price is going up of cows, so start saving. So that's what we did. We saved our money. We got married in 2013, and then we had money left over. Now, we are soccer fanatics in my house. So we then decided, geez, we've got enough money to go to the World Cup in Brazil. And we didn't have a honeymoon or anything, but we went to the World Cup in Brazil. Now, here we are, all our friends are thinking you guys have money for days. But they forgot all the parties that we missed. They forgot all the baby showers that we missed and all the weddings we didn't go to. And here we were living like we were millionaires, but we were not millionaires. You know, we partied for days. We went to Brazil for 10 days. It was the most amazing time of our lives. And after that, we decided we're going on an overseas trip every single year. How did we achieve that? Saving. It's that financial goal, investing, putting it away for 5 years, for 12 months. And we just said, we're not going to miss another World Cup. We didn't go to Russia. I think it was, I had issues with the cold. You know, I didn't know how it would play out in terms of the stadium and cold. You know, black people and cold weather, we're not best friends. I don't know why, but yeah, in Stellenbosch, we probably see a Sean wearing shorts in winter and we're like, yo, guys, it's freezing in here and air cons and all of that. So yeah, we didn't play that game of going to Russia. We decided to stay home. But we've enjoyed so many of life's luxuries simply by delayed gratification. Delayed gratification. I promise you, the same clothing labels that you're seeing today will probably be there tomorrow, and there'll be better ones as well, right? So you can't be thinking clothing labels right now. You can't be thinking the latest car when you start your articles. You want a Mercedes-Benz. For peace sake, no one knows when you've got a Mercedes-Benz. It's parked in the flippant basement. Get a simple car to get you from A to B. Start saving for it now. Could you potentially do lift clubs if some of you are going to be serving articles in the same firm or whatever? You know, you're literally closing the tap. You need to go away and you need to look at where your leakages are. And one of them is alcohol. You know, think about that. Cigarettes, all sorts of things. I used to smoke. Please don't hold it against me. And I stopped smoking in first year because I was broke. I just got so tired of literally knocking on my neighbor's door and being like, oh, please can I have a loose, whatever. And, you know, I don't want that reputation, the loose girl, no pun intended. I wasn't that way. But I mean, you know, I just didn't want that. And I knew that this was also a habit that was not taking me anywhere. So close those little loops and really tighten up your finances. There's a question here about how do I get disciplined with my finances? What are your dreams? You know, Rudi can't tell you how you get disciplined with your finances. I can't tell you how you get disciplined with your finances. But what I can share with you is have a look at your dreams, but also have a look at your money traumas. Money traumas are those situations that make you have an adverse relationship with money. A money trauma could come in the form of not having had. And all of a sudden, you want to be this multimillionaire so that you can fit into circles that you didn't fit into when you didn't have money. It happens to a lot of the people I went to university with. They couldn't afford Mac computers and also, and now all of a sudden, they want those kind of things, not because they need them or it's useful for them, but they just want to be able to open a Mac computer in the Premier Lounge so that they can be like, hey, Landi, you know, how you doing? And their Maybach car key must fall accidentally. There's a void in there, you know, because you're still seeing an SLK parked in a bachelor flat that doesn't have furniture. It doesn't make sense. So you have to think about your money traumas now. What is it? How is my relationship with money? Is it a scarcity relationship? Is it an abundance? Maybe I come from a family that's very lavish and that didn't care to spend money wisely. I thought I came from a family that was well off until my dad lost his job, and I realized that actually we weren't well off. We were financed through debt. And it was a difficult time because it almost forced me out of varsity. But I realized over time that those were my parents' money traumas that they didn't have. And now they were trying to compensate for a void or fill a void that they had based on things, material possession that was coming their way. So be careful of those kind of things. You have to address them now. Someone asked a question here as well as, how do I spend money or save money if I'm in a long-term relationship? I like that question. Start talking about these things now. Rudi said him and his wife have passive income, meaning there is a healthy relationship in that family, even with money. One of the worst things that I heard on a woman's platform, and I was so disturbed by it, was that the guest speaker of the day was saying women need a secret fund that their husbands don't know about. I don't understand that concept, but it also spoke to a money trauma. Here's a woman who's probably comes from a family where a father was very reckless with money. And so she feels the need to hide money from her husband. The conversations start now. The conversations, unfortunately, for some of you have to go a little bit deeper. And I would advise, if there's anyone here who's planning on getting married, if you're in final year and you want to get married, please don't yet. No, I didn't say that. But if you do want to get married anytime soon, have an appointment with Rudi. Part of his job as an advisor is a financial doctor. Part of his job is sitting with the both of you. Where do you guys want to go? Landi, do you have debt? Mali, your husband, do you have debt? No, I don't. So how are you going to work it out? You know, because now you're going into an institution where you are seen as one. Your assets may be separate if you prefer in terms of certain contracts, but talk about these things are so important right now. Have a look at the kind of relationship that you have with your partner. I think the most important question is not, do you love me and do I love you? That's a given. Otherwise, you wouldn't be together. One of the important questions, women, that you should be asking guys is not, can you buy me the diamond ring? It is, where are you going? Do you have a vision for your life? And guys, one of the most important questions that you need to be asking your wife or your future girlfriend or whatever, if you want to marry her, is, are you the kind of helper, or are you the kind of, let's say, suitable partner to build good dreams with? That's a financial freedom, money conversation. Other things that will come up is things like, you know, in families, they like preserving the wealth of the family in the bloodline. Talk about those things. If you're marrying someone whose family has a wine farm or owns Pick and Pay and you are next in line, what if you marry someone that thinks, no, the minute your dad dies, we're selling Pick and Pay. I want nothing to do with it. Those conversations start now. You have to have a healthy build a healthy relationship right now with money so that you're able to invest individually in your money, and you're able to invest together, especially if you want children together. Because remember, they are a joint responsibility, right? So I hope I'm helping someone out there based on some of the questions that you guys have asked. Someone asked, why is it important to save for it, or is it important to save for retirement? We normally overemphasize retirement savings, not because we are trying to get you to retire at the age of 60, but it's one of the easiest way to keep your hands out of the cookie jar. Other investments you can access. You can access the tax-free savings. You can access a unit trust. You can access your share portfolio that's built through PSG or whatever the case is. But your retirement savings protect you from yourself. They are an emergency fund later in life. You know, if all else fails, you've tried being an entrepreneur, it hasn't worked out, or it has worked out and your business just goes under before you get to the age of 65. In year number 64, after doing phenomenally well, your business goes under. You know that shucks, I'm here now and I would have lost everything had it not been for my pension of 2 million rand. And that's something that creditors can't touch should anything go wrong. You know, so that's why we emphasize retirement savings. Should entrepreneurs have retirement savings? Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. You know, it's part of paying yourself first. You should have retirement savings. There's a question here that, do I think entrepreneurship is a form of investment? Absolutely. But it's a risky form of entrepreneurship. It's not the only thing you look at. You know, we are now we're developing a course with some industry experts in entrepreneurship on starting businesses using your everyday skills and gifts. You know, we're moving away from the job world slowly. Rudi has got, I mean, I was so chuffed in learning that he's got a YouTube channel. Things like that, for example, are cash generators. You know, so it doesn't take too much for him to do that. It's a camera, a stand, interviewing people, generating traffic to his site. By the way, it probably generates organically through the clients that want to know, what's Rudi up to today? Geez, I want to know what my advisor's saying, etc., etc. So entrepreneurship, yes, is something absolutely phenomenal, but it shouldn't be the only thing you're looking at. It is a form of investment, a risky one that you should explore, but have other eggs in your basket that you can invest in. I think for now, that's probably where I will leave it so that we can go to the live questions. And be nice to Rudi and I, please. I think we've been very nice to you guys. So just be nice. But yeah, thanks, Sean. I'll hand it over back to you.
Hello, guys. I hope everyone is still entertained. I think I want to congratulate both of the speakers. You guys completely nailed it. It has been incredible to watch. The insights and emotion and actual implication of how you can change your life starting right now is awesome to learn. I see our chat box has been empty. So if you guys have live questions that you want to ask or clarification, please pass it in the. Okay, let's see. There's an anonymous Landi. When you talked about paying yourself first, sounds a lot like Robert Kiyosaki. Yeah, incredible author. I really enjoyed his Rich Dad Poor Dad is awesome. I read the follow-up as well. So I think what we can do, seeing as the questions are from the live attendees, you guys are welcome to send in some questions. So I'm going to throw it back to Rudi. Let's go on we still got a bunch of time left, so let's go on like a 3, 4, 5 question turn. Rudi, you can answer a few questions from the Google form, and then Landi, you can answer a few from the Google. Awesome.
Thank you, Sean. Rudi, I think your mic is off.
Yes, Rudi is nog gemute.
Do any of you know how to read lips? Because you just missed a whole lot of wisdom there. I mean, I think I just dropped the most amazing thing I've ever said. No, none of you know. But anyway. So, yeah, you guys have sent me amazing questions. Thank you so much for this engagement. But yeah, the one question would be, what does financial freedom mean to you? I think that's probably one of the questions I ask myself the most. But I'm going to throw the question back at you, and I'm going to leave off where what Landy was just talking about. That's the single most important question I ask when I meet you. So maybe start writing it down now. What is your first memory of money? No right or wrong answer. Find a pen and paper when you're comfortable and write that story down, because chances are that's where you will find your financial freedom. So it could be something like the first time you made your own money, or the first time someone took money from you, or the first time you felt sad about money. The first time money meant something to you. When was that? And what was the emotion in that? Try and record that moment as much as you can. And you'll be able to unpack a whole lot about your future and how you respond to money and why you make certain decisions. The psychology of money is actually phenomenal. So then there were a lot of questions about, where should we invest and where should we, place our money and all that kind of stuff. But I wouldn't want to answer those questions, over a session like this. I think it's really important for you to discover first that you have a responsibility to adapt certain habits, to adapt a certain lifestyle. And Landi put it so beautifully tonight. I couldn't have said it better myself. If you can start applying these habits and principles and disciplines and carrying that cost with yourself first, I think then only are you in a position to start asking those questions. I'm not saying that you guys are not. I'm just saying that if you understand that you have a responsibility to understand the investment world as much as your advisor does, then you will make the right choice about which advisor to choose, because then you won't just choose an advisor that's going to sell you a product or walk away with commission. Look, I have nothing against that. Everyone needs to eat. But I just think if you take the responsibility first to learn some habits and understand what the financial planning process is, then you will start answering bigger questions, because you'll start asking better questions. Okay, so I want you to understand that. Start understanding that. Don't put the onus on a wealth planner or a fund manager where your future is going to end up financially. It is your responsibility to understand what that looks like and how that pans out, because then you can start asking the right questions to a financial planner that cares and knows how to help you find those answers for yourself, because chances are that they are more emotional and psychological than they are physical and tangible. Right? That is a bizarre thought, but it is so true. And it's my life's purpose to help people actually discover that. And yeah, it puts you in a position to just be a little bit more powerful in how you ask questions. And start asking those questions to yourself. I think it's important. Then can one be financially free with some form of debt? Well, there are many principles that teach that you can get rich on other people's money, i.e. debt. Now, if you're really smart and you know how that system works, there's actually many courses that can teach you. Grant Cardone is one of the guys that teaches that from the 10x rule. He knows how to flip property and that kind of stuff with his expertise. I'm not going to advise on that because it's not my expertise. It's not how I run my life. I'm more about passive incomes and that kind of stuff. But you can, yes, debt can be very healthy in your life. The way that I run my debt in my life is I take my credit card and whatever my fixed expenses are in a month, I pay it through my credit card and I pay it back through my checking account the next month. Okay, so you have to have it you must be in credit to the credit provider for them to actually see that. So just the first month, basically, you'll miss a payment. Not really, but you'll spend that money and you'll pay it back the next month. Okay, so you'll only ever be in credit that much that you actually spend. So whether it's your groceries and certain fixed expenses, but make sure that you pay that back every month. That looks amazing on your credit card. So yes, you can be financially free and in debt, but there's healthy debt and there's ways that you need to know how to run that. All right, I'll answer 2 more questions and then give it over to Landi. I want a little bit more of how do I plan around major unexpected expenses? I did speak about your emergency fund. I would definitely think that you need to, look at some sort of unit trust. I know that the prize tonight is 2 unit trusts, and we will be donating 1,500 Rand into each. So we'll choose the best question, the best 2 questions, and we'll open that up. If anyone else of you want to know how to open up a unit trust, you know, I can definitely help you with that, and it's definitely not as complex as you may think it is. It's actually very easy, and then you can be a freak like me and put money into that unit trust when you're saving your 17 Rand in the Pick and Pay. Okay, last question, and then we'll give over to the lovely Landi. With a loan or a family reserve funding, how do you start a business? This is from a very informed person, so I need to think about how I answer this. With no loan, sorry, family reserve funding, how do I start a business? Sorry, that was the question. That's a very awesome question, because that's, I think there's a lot to that, and we can unpack that. You know who you are, and I'll speak to you about that. I get very passionate about this because there are ways, and I've spoken about these amazing ways to start businesses that have very low capital outlets. There's actually smart ways to go into collaborations. I believe in a collaboration of starting a business with somebody else that has money or expertise in some form, rather than starting something for yourself. I believe if you want to get rich, you have to make a few other people rich first. So collaborate with people that have the ability, i.e. that goes back to my 9th principle, is find mentors. Find people that are affluent and successful in an area of business that you have interest in, and just learn from them. They will give you opportunities. So that's how you do it without a loan. But again, it costs something. There's nothing in life's free. It's not easy. Finding people like that to give you time is not easy. I've recently, you know, got a guy, he's a owner of multinational companies, and he gives me 90 minutes a week. So you can find someone like that. It's really important. Sorry, I'm rushing because we've got 4 minutes left, and I'm going to hand over to our beautiful Landi. She's going to answer some questions, and thank you again for this opportunity to speak to you guys. It's been so phenomenal and amazing. Over to you, Landi.
Thanks, Rudi. Thank you so much for that. I've got a question here that says, with money that I have saved up, should I put it into an RA? And if so, which one? So to answer that question, I'm going to take you back to what we learned yesterday. The question of should I put it into an RA will be determined by how long you want to put your money away for. Retirement annuities, RAs are retirement annuities, for those who don't know. Retirement annuities in their nature are long-term. And I mean very long-term. So you can only access the money after the age of 55. So if you're saving up that money to get it after the age of 55, and not all of it, they have restrictions, then an RA is an option. But if you are not, then you need to look at vehicles that will allow you to have access to that money at the end of your financial goal period. So I hope I've clarified that. If you're thinking retirement annuity, remember we said that you are building an emergency kitty for later in life, for 55 years and beyond in life. So if that's not your investment horizon or the time that you have in mind, then an RA may not be suitable. You might have to look for your unit trust, your exchange traded funds that are shorter term in nature, or your tax-free savings accounts that you can access the money at a shorter period. I've got the second question here as well that says, do you foresee the PE ratios for fourth industrial revolution equity, big English, collapsing as in the dot-com bubble bust of 1999-2000? So thank you for that question. For lay people like me, that question, what they are asking is the technology companies, right? Stocks, equities, the technology companies that are listed on the stock exchanges. So the New York Stock Exchange, the Johannesburg Stock Exchange. Remember, shares are an asset class, referring back to yesterday. So this person is asking that asset class of shares, companies that are actually technology companies, do we think that they will go bust at some stage? I don't know. And I think if we did have that answer, then we would be able to time the market or to put in our money at a certain time and be able to take it out at another time. And the I don't know part of it is also justified by the fact that when Nokia designed their phones and BlackBerry, they were the hottest things at the time, right? So they thought they had something phenomenal that would never put them out of business. And where are they today? There's Apple today, there's Samsung today, there's Huawei, and all sorts of things. So technology is it's a fast-paced industry. What portfolio managers or the people that go and choose which stocks to invest in do is they follow them for quite some time. But even then, you will never find them putting in money solely in those kind of stocks because of the fact that technology changes ever so often. And examples of that are Nokia and BlackBerry. They're trying to get back in the game. I don't know if they'll get back in, but they were the hottest things of their time, right? And the bubble, so it's not like all technology stocks went under, but that particular company went under. So I hope that answers your question a little bit. And then there's a question here that how should one's investment strategy change if due to work opportunities, emigration from South Africa is a likely scenario? So here we're sitting with someone that's saying, I want to put money away, but I don't know if I will be in South Africa long enough. You don't necessarily have to take your money out of South Africa when you leave South Africa. Just like we could be sitting in South Africa here today, and some of us have portfolios in the United Kingdom, in the United States, and various other countries, for example. So you could be building a portfolio that is diverse in its nature. It could have investments overseas with an offshore portion of it, and it could have investments in local companies or shares in local companies. And why are you doing that? It's a form of diversifying. It's a form of not putting all your eggs in one basket. So when you do leave and go overseas, you have money for when you need to access it overseas, as an example. And when you do come back to South Africa to visit, you also have money this side. But an even bigger reason is that our currencies don't operate the same, right? So when the rand in South Africa is not doing too well, you benefit if you are sitting overseas because it means your investment is doing well. When you're sitting in South Africa and an international currency is not doing too well, you're sitting here and you're benefiting from their weak currency over here in South Africa. So you don't necessarily lose by having money here. What you could start thinking about is the different types of investments that you could place your money in so that you take advantage of the two scenarios, whether you're here or whether you are living abroad.
Luan, okay, you got this.
Thanks, guys. So even with this one, what I want to say as well is there are lots of South Africans in the diaspora. The diaspora are South Africans that are working abroad. They've still got their citizenship, but they are accumulating foreign currency, but they also want to build up a kitty locally. So we do a lot of education around that as well, because they were once in this situation and they had no one to sit with and tell them, don't close that investment account here because you can still throw money into it even while you're working in Dubai. You know, so it's good to diversify, and you're still better off either way, I say. There's a question here that I hoped I wouldn't be asked, and it's around cryptocurrency. Is cryptocurrency a good medium for investments? Yeah, cryptocurrency is an interesting one, and I'm going to address it in this manner. So there's very few people that I know that invest in cryptocurrency directly. So there's very few people that I know that have an account, a Bitcoin account, or an I can't even pronounce the name, speak English, but you get my point. Those type of cryptocurrencies that they hold in their portfolio. What often happens is that cryptocurrency is brought up in either a pyramid scheme or it's brought up in a network marketing firm. So Sean You recruit Landi, who's going to recruit Rudi, and we are all going to have cryptocurrency, but we won't tell you where the cryptocurrency is, but it's somewhere floating in the cloud, but I never get to log into something to see my thing because I need my sponsor or something. It just gets, so people never really hold cryptocurrency. There's very few people that if you ask them, they'll tell you, no, I've got X amount of Bitcoins. And you're like, let's see your Bitcoin wallet. And they're logged into some system that was created by Landi and Rudi's wife. And we didn't really know what we were doing, but we were trying something out. And so we recruited a whole lot of people. Be careful. If you want to invest in cryptocurrency, there are platforms.
Did we lose Landi? Hi guys, sorry, Landi is seems like Eskom is giving them the world of problems. I think we'll continue. Maybe if Landi comes back, I'll give a little chance to give her closing thoughts to you guys as we end the session. So we're going to start the wrap up. Luan from PPS is going to tune in and he's going to announce the lucky winners for the prize. And there's the free access to the PPS lounge for Stellenbosch students up for grabs. So Luan from PPS, welcome.
Awesome. Thanks, Sean. I really appreciate it. Landi, Rudi, I really enjoyed these 3 days. It's just so awesome to actually hear about people who are actually interested in other people's success and not their own. So I really want to commend you guys. Please, guys, those who were watching, please meet up with these people. As Rudi said, mentorship is so important. So just get with them, get a meeting with them, get coffee, and then just do it. So from my side, I just want to say thank you so much to Golden Key. This has been a almost 2-year partnership, I think now. Looking forward to next year and the year thereafter. Looking forward to bringing you guys a lot more of these financial education opportunities. And yeah, with that being said, I think it's now time to introduce the winners of the 1,500 PPS Unit Trust voucher. So if you are the winner, the person that is taking everything, please meet up with Rudi. I think it's Rudi. He will then basically explain how it's going to work, how you can actually get that money into the unit trust. So the winner of the lucky draw 1,500 PPS unit trust voucher. And guys, this is really where the more questions you send in, the better your chances are of winning. So the winner of this one is Thomas Meyer from UCT. And it's most probably because he sent in like 1 million questions. I just saw his name pop up every single time. So congratulations, Thomas. Please meet up with Rudi and you will find out how you can redeem that. Then the winner of the best question. Okay, so it was a tight race. There were 3 people in the running, and mostly because their questions were very practical. But the guy that took it was Sipamandla Nontluba. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. So congratulations, man. You are taking home 1,500 Rand in unit trust vouchers. And his question was basically about how do you start a chicken farm? What is the practicalities of it? So well done, man. Really commend you on actually starting your business soon. Let that be an example to the rest of the people that the only stupid people are the people that never start. So right here, right now, just start, do it. Then finally, we were going to draw just one winner for the Stellenbosch PPS Inner Circle Lounge access, but I felt very just like Oprah, I just want to give things away. So we decided we're going with 3 people, and those people are Carl Wilson, Michael Monty, And the last one is Caitlin Jones. So congratulations to you guys. When you are in Stellenbosch, if you are already in Stellenbosch, come by the PPS Inner Circle Lounge. It's in the Nielsen, in between the Nielsen Keys and the post office. And I'll explain everything that needs to be explained. Thank you so much, guys. That's it from me. I'm just there to give handouts to feel like Oprah already. But yeah, thank you so much, guys. I appreciate it.
Sean, you're muted.
Rookie error. Sorry, Landi. You dropped with internet. I can quickly give you a bit of time just to give a closing thought. Maybe just finish off with your presentation. That was incredible. So maybe just take a moment to finish it up.
Thank you so much, guys. I don't know what's happening. Yeah, interesting times in Gauteng. I think I want to relocate to Cape Town. Like, no one in Cape Town has had issues with connectivity. So yeah, food for thought. But thank you so much for this great opportunity. I think this is golden key. I congratulate you guys, the team that has put together this entire festival. What a vision. You know, I really hope that it will go beyond Golden Key, that you guys will mobilize it in the campuses with other clubs. You know, let this be a movement. It started as a festival, but let it be students rising up honestly and taking financial freedom and economic freedom into their own hands, you know, and not waiting for handouts, not waiting for someone else to come and ignite that flame. So I hope, thank you to the leadership of Golden Key. You guys had exams, you guys had all sorts of things going on, but you took it upon yourselves to light up this torch. And I hope every single student that has logged in today will take that torch and go and light a flame somewhere in their community. You cannot sit with information that you've gained here and keep it to yourself. You know, you cannot be a marsh. You really, I like what Rudi said. He was like, the more you give, the more you get. An ocean has never run dry because of the amount of times that people drink water from it. You know, so you have a responsibility as well to go out there, to sit with your family, to sit with your sphere of influence. Rudi spoke about those 3 circles. You know, I've got so many takeaways from here that I'm going to start implementing in my own life. So let's go out there and let's light someone else's torch. If you see an opportunity to you know, sow seed in someone's life of wisdom, he spoke about wisdom. You see that opportunity, go for it. If it's your aunt, if it's your uncle, it's your brother, your sister, your girlfriend, whatever the case is, this is a movement. And I'm so glad that it's starting with young people, because it means the future of our children is in good hands. You know, I don't want my kids to eat noodles, not because I want them to feel a sense of entitlement, but I want them to know that their parents fought for a freedom, a financial freedom, by making choices that would impact even their great-grandchildren. And it starts with all of us. So thank you so much, team. Rudi, I know this is only the beginning for us. What an absolute honor to, if the future of financial advice looks like this, here's to more financial advisors coming into the sphere. So thank you so much. I'm really excited about the work that we're going to do together. Guys, please set up appointments with Rudi. This is the time. You know, follow us. We're going to be starting Financial Fridays very soon. We've got the startup tribe starting up for entrepreneurs, etc. It's not about us. You know, that's why you don't see us in the front line, and it's not about our egos and, hey, this is what we're doing. It's really about equipping people and making sure that you're not the only one that's successful and standing out like a sore thumb, but there's a whole forest of people who are successful and joining forces to change the world. So thank you so much once again, and congratulations, everyone. Thank you, Sean.
Yes, commute.
Okay. Gotta get it sometime. Thank you so much, Landi. I think this was really inspiring, not even just the content of financial freedom and knowledge that was given. There's a ton of inspiration and guidance and mentorship. I want to thank both of you for being the example that we can actually strive towards and try and achieve and change the lives of people that are not your focused little group, but trying to do good outside of yourself. That is the vision for me with Golden Key. I want to reach out to anybody watching this. Obviously, it will be distributed afterwards. I want Golden Key to become a community of people who are capable and willing to make a difference. And like Landi said, we have people that are trying to make a difference. All we have to do is bring them together. So I want you guys to see Golden Key as not as it's viewed in like you've got a jacket, your Golden Key. I want it to be a community of people making a difference. And I want to shout out to our service team on our committee as well that has been doing incredible work, affecting the lives of the community around us. So thank you to our committee. And then this is your guys' time. I really want to thank the team, Tandu, Kristen, Petronella, Zwile. It was so awesome working with you guys. I think this was a huge success. Thank you for the attendees that joined in on a Friday. We will let you guys know on email and on social media as to where the YouTube videos are going. Please go check out Rudi and the Wealth Room. The content they are making on YouTube is incredible. It's free. And never stop learning, guys. Let's continue to develop ourselves and develop our community and have high hopes for South Africa. Let's not throw in the towel. I think there was some really inspirational things said between Landi and Rudi. And yeah, make a habit of watching like people like this, watching people making a difference, giving yourself something to strive towards. I think that is incredible. I've used the hashtag a few times. It's a Tony Robbins hashtag, inspire the future. And I think that's powerful. It's taking acts that will not affect only the world now, but taking acts that will continue to develop everybody that follows. Try and change the narrative, try and change the view. I think this is the goal that we can all work together on this, achieving this. Yeah, and I think thank you so much for the awesome event. GDT Wealth, the Wealth Room, PPS. I want to applaud you guys. It was so awesome. Thank you so much for the prizes from PPS. I think it's going to be amazing for the people to actually implement an investment and take the content from the videos and actually apply it to your investment. Find complete clarity of what was said into practice. And I think all of us should work towards not only being here and striving to develop yourself, but getting to a point of implementing all of the thoughts that you're having and be very intentional with that. Okay, guys, from a personal side, you should have noticed the Stellies cap. I'm a Stellies model. So check out my Instagram. It's really boozy if you want to check out my Instagram. And thank you so much for joining, guys. It's awesome seeing you. See you at the next one.
Thank you.